Well, good afternoon and welcome to the City of Columbus Department of Public Utilities. I'm Greg Davies, and on behalf of Mayor Coleman and all of us here at the soon-to-be renamed Dana G. Buck Rinehart Utilities Complex, thank you for taking part in our special day. Before we start, I want to recognize the outstanding staff here who worked tirelessly to make this event possible. I think you'll agree with me that what they were able to do with our garage, which on a typical day is full of water trucks and not nearly as clean as this, was outstanding. I'm sure that you noticed as you were waiting in line to get in that our front yard is under renovation. For those of you wondering, we're in the process of implementing a $200 million project to expand the Dublin Road water plant and upgrade our treatment process to meet increased EPA regulations. Essentially, we are eliminating the existing parking lot up here for the expansion and constructing a new parking lot which will be closer to the post office. And out front, we'll be constructing a new power substation and a pump station for our sludge line. It's truly an honor for me to recognize Mayor Rinehart and be a part of this well-deserved recognition. Staff and I were thrilled when Mayor Coleman chose our department to honor the legacy left by Mayor Rinehart and all of the tremendous things he did advancing our great city. Mayor Rinehart was first elected in 1984. I was a sophomore in high school. Say, Say, Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson was the #1 song. And the terrible song, huh? And the Department of Public Utilities was known as the Department of Public Utilities and Aviation. In 1984, the Division of Water had 189,000 customers, and we produced 117 million gallon water a day. Today, we have 280,000 customers and produce over 140 million gallons a day. Under Mayor Rinehart, our Division of Sewers and Drains served a population of 790,000. Today, we're over 1.1 million. Mayor Rinehart oversaw the city's largest capital project at the time, Project 88, which expanded our 2 wastewater treatment plants. And in 1991, we finished replacing O'Shaughnessy Dam, opening the bridge back up to traffic on June 11th of that year, and we finally stopped Mary Ann O'Shaughnessy from calling Mayor Rinehart about it. And while thankfully the Director of Public Utilities is no longer responsible for overseeing Port Columbus, it should be noted that Mayor Rinehart was in charge on November 17th, 1984, when the airport had its first nonstop international flight. On a personal note, I am proud to say I've had the opportunity to get to know Mayor Rinehart during my 14 years working for Mayor Coleman, and I'm confident by the turnout here today that everybody knows the type of person Mayor Rinehart is and how people were always his top priority. Aside from being appointed director by Mayor Coleman, one of the proudest moments of the city I had was when I received a handwritten note from Mayor Rinehart. A story had appeared in the Dispatch talking about some of the positive things that were happening in our department, and I received a copy of that in the mail with a handwritten note on it from Mayor Rinehart. It meant the world to me then. As a new director, it means the world to me now that someone as accomplished as Mayor Rinehart would take the time to do that, and I think it's indicative of the type of person he is. Before we hear from our distinguished guests behind me, we have a short video from CTV highlighting some of the events that took place during Mayor Rinehart's administration.
I was 13, and we were at the Hyatt Regency, and word had just come that he had won the election, and so the family was rushed onto the stage, and he was still off stage, and I remember looking back at him, and he had the biggest grin, like he'd been given the greatest gift in the world because he'd just been elected mayor.
Congratulations.
Distinguished friends and guests, this is great.
To describe Buck Rinehart's administration, it was the pursuit of excellence.
And achieving excellence begins with setting excellence as a goal.
We read books on Tom Peters' book on the pursuit of excellence. He talked about it. We talked about it in cabinet meetings.
He was a fireball. He really was. I mean, you really never knew what was going to come out and what he was going to try to do next. But that made it an exciting place to work, and I think again the citizens of Columbus are better off for it.
I look back on it, and the word that always pops out is vibrant. He was only 37 years old when he was elected mayor, which is fairly young, which meant he brought a young staff with him, and they brought a lot of enthusiasm and energy that the city hadn't seen before.
Oh, I think they were doers. I think they like to get a lot of things done.
One of the bigger projects that really kicked off just as he was leaving office, but all the planning and development that was done, was the AmeriFlora event in Franklin Park, an international floral exposition. Brought visitors in from all over the world.
One thing I learned about Buck is never let him on a wrecking ball, because he'll use it.
I was city clerk when Buck was mayor, and he knew I felt very passionate about restoring the council chambers, and together we did the job.
The biggest thing Buck left as mayor was not so much buildings and bricks and mortar. The biggest thing Buck left the city was a can-do attitude.
As I look back, if there's anything that made me feel good, it was hoping that I was a little bit of a part of raising the self-esteem of Columbus.
He always used the term, "I'm helplessly and hopelessly in love with this city," and he still says it to this day. So even after his tenure in office, there's still that love he has for the city.
Politicians come and go as the fair wind blows, but the city lasts forever.
Wasn't that terrific? I'd like to thank Stephanie Harper. I'm not sure where she's at. I can't see her, but Stephanie and CTV put that video together with help of a lot of you in the audience today, so thank you. At this time, I'd like to bring up the City Council President, Andrew Ginther.
Good afternoon, and we are so excited to be here today to honor and recognize one of Columbus's greatest citizens. I do want to acknowledge a couple other folks that are with us here today. Commissioner John O'Grady is here, as well as my colleagues, Councilmember Priscilla Tyson, and I believe Councilmember Zach Klein was here earlier as well. Councilmember Paley and I are very excited to be here today to welcome you to an exciting acknowledgement of some amazing contributions made by Mayor Rinehart. We're all honored to be here to help pay tribute to a Columbus icon. So many great men and women have helped to make Columbus the world-class city it is today, but only a few people loom so large in our history that you can say their first name and everyone knows exactly who you're talking about. Woody, Archie, Amina, and Buck. Anyone who lived in Columbus during Mayor Rinehart's tenure knows that our city made great strides under his leadership. He set the stage for unprecedented growth and success that we're achieving right now because he dreamed big for Columbus. He believed in Columbus and inspired us as a city to believe in ourselves. In fact, he insisted on it. And if you ever worked for Mayor Rinehart, you knew what it meant if he insisted on it. Mayor Rinehart recently described himself as hopelessly and helplessly in love with Columbus. He's proven it throughout a lifetime of service to our great city. Mayor Rinehart, or Buck, we thank you for some of the liveliest, most successful years our city's ever had. Congratulations to you on this historic day, and thank you for all that you will continue to do for the city you love. It is, thank you.
What a great crowd it is here today, and I want to thank Director Davies, this entire department, all the people that worked so hard to pull this place together. I'm proud of each and every one of you. Ty Harden, Stephanie Harper, all of you workers, you really kicked this place into a great shape, and thank you so much. You know, I think Andy said it perfectly. Buck Rinehart loves the city of Columbus. He has always loved the city of Columbus and the people of our city. And we need to recognize him for that love. And so today, it's all about you, Buck. You know, there are only 3 people in Columbus that really know what it's like to be mayor. Buck Rinehart, Greg Lashutka, and Mike Coleman. And we're all here today. There's Greg Lashutka right here. Greg, please stand. Your day is coming too. And so, you know, the job of mayor, we all know the extent of personal sacrifice one has to make to lead this city. Buck knows about that. The deep love for the city. Certainly Buck has demonstrated that over and over and over again. And both the arrows as well as the blessings there are in being the leader of this city, Buck knows about each of those as well. Well, Buck, I want to thank you for your time as mayor and how grateful the citizens are, the next generation of people. We're so grateful for how you laid that foundation during your time as mayor. Because, you know, the citizens are very wise people, our voters. You know, every mayor for this city was the right leader for that time during the city, for that time in our history. So, being mayor is not about party or position. It's about making the city better for the next generation. And Buck, you did that. You made it better for the next generation. And so, I thought about all the things we could name after you. I thought about the landfill. I said, no, maybe that's not appropriate. Somebody talked me down off that one. But I thought about all the things you accomplished, Floral, Port Columbus. I thought about City Center. Oh, yeah, we tore that down. I thought about the Ohio Penitentiary site. You tried to tear that down, but Greg Lashutka is the one that tore it down, legally. Buck, we love you. We love your passion. We love your can-do attitude. You know, you gave the city swagger at a time it needed swagger. And so we're appreciative of you in so many ways. And so what I'd like to do is, at this moment, is to bring Mayor Lashutka up here, if I could. Greg, if you come forward. It's not too often you have 3 mayors on one stage at one time. And we're going to name this whole place, well, how many? $200 million in public investment of water and sewer services. And when you pay your bill, I want you to think of Buck Rinehart, not Mike Coleman. Oh, my goodness. So we're going to name this today, right now. We're going to unveil this sign. Come on, let's come back here. Come back here. Rush, you get right here. I'm going to pull it down.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't overdo it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mike Coleman. You talk about a surprise. He delivered it to me. I am very, very grateful to Mayor Coleman for this recognition. I'm also deeply grateful to Director Greg Davies. High school, huh? When I took office. Let me tell you, that was after the Civil War, not before. But Greg, you and your staff have done a great job in making this garage not look like a garage. It looks like the floor of some department store. It looks so good. And I'm sure that you and Pam O'Grady worked hard on this. Mr. President, Andy Ginther, I want to thank you for being here very much. It's nice to have the support of council on anything. And I say that with all due respect to Eileen Paley. Eileen, thank you very much. And thank you for this recognition. I also want to thank, while I'm up here, Greg Lashutka for being here. I think the world of this guy. To members of my staff who worked on this, Rita Ward, Cindy Efferman, and others that I can see, but I'm hard on names, harder now than I used to be, and I'm very grateful to them. I'm especially grateful to John Meyer, who is on my staff as well. John worked hard on this, and I'm very grateful to him, as I have been my entire life. Most of you know that I had recent surgery for pancreatic cancer, which is supposed to be the death warrant. Well, it went well, but I realized that right now I somewhat look like hell. I know I sound like hell, and sometimes I feel like hell. But the good news is that a CAT scan taken last week showed that I'm clear and cancer-free. Thank you. So mark these words. The buck's not stopping here and now. I'd like to recognize two very important groups of people that are here. Number one, if you're employed in the Department of Utilities in the city of Columbus, would you please stand and let us recognize you for what you do? If you're employed in the Department of Utilities. These are great people. They're the ones that make sure the water goes on and it goes away when people are done with it. And if they don't, guess who gets called? Mike, Greg, and Buck. The second group of people that I want to recognize are your predecessors, the ones who helped form this department, who helped Director Mike Long, who I think is here, who ran this department in the 80s. Would those people please stand, and if you're included in the first group, stand alone, stand up. The people that made up the prior administration. These are the people that made me look good if I looked good. I would have never been so presumptuous as to expect that any city facility would ever be named after me, other than maybe the landfill. But that decision wasn't mine. And now that it's happened, I must say that I'm very, very pleased it turned out to be this vital Department of Utilities. When you think about it, public utilities functions, those functions in any big city is very dear to everyone's heart. It's the one, and its employees are the people, who provide those critical services that literally allow citizens to go to work, go to school, go to church, go to shopping malls, and so on, and survive and thrive at every level. What could be more basic or critical for a big city than its people and places have safe drinking water? There is nothing more important. Effective sanitation, maintenance of electrical services that include the comprehensive street lighting grid that we have in Columbus. What could be more basic or critical to a city, to its people and places, than having those services? The department's scope of work has really grown exponentially in the last 20 years. Today, we live in a community of over 1 million people. That includes the city and its suburbs. That means this department is providing these services to several 100,000 people more than when I was mayor of Columbus. And imagine this, when I took office in January 1984, this department didn't even exist as a standalone entity. But the city did have a brand new trash burning power plant that didn't work, an airport that nobody was flying into or out of, problems with the federal government ad nauseum regarding our wastewater treatment plant. This was all prior to Project 88. And having fun with the EPA is not fun, federal EPA. Probably contributing to those problems was the fact that all of the city's utilities were parked under the service department. And what we did is we took the standalone utility functions and separated them out so that they could have the freedom of independence and a voice at city council and a voice in the community, the least of the things that we could do. Another of our early actions was to convene a trash burning power plant task force. This was one of Jerry Hammond's favorite subjects, the trash plant. I joined Councilman Ben Espy and City Auditor Hugh Dorian on that task force, which eventually succeeded in getting the plant to work. But one of the people who served as staff for that task force and helped us bring that victory home was a young council aide by the name of Mike Coleman. Mike Coleman earned his stripes early on, and he earned it with a lot of dignity and honor. Within a few years, though, the trash burning power plant began to eat about $17 million a year in city funds to keep it operational. And it was becoming a real drain on city finances. It eventually ceased operations and went the way of the wrecking ball, which, by the way, is one of my favorite vehicles to drive. Suffice it to say, I am very, very proud of the work our public utilities team did between 1984 and 1992 to help the people of Columbus. In conclusion, it's hard to believe that 30 years ago today, I was deep into my first campaign for mayor and just a few months away from stepping into the mayor's office after winning a very, very close election against a wonderful guy by the name of Mike Dorian, who is obviously a first cousin to our city auditor, Hugh Dorian. I'm very happy that today's event has brought a lot of the old team back together to celebrate our hour on the stage and also to consider the future and what lies ahead, knowing that at least part of what we strive to accomplish will forever be memorable in the new name of this complex. Ladies and gentlemen, and I see lots of friends out there. I could name them one by one and say to each and every one of them, I am very, very grateful for this recognition. On behalf of Brenda and our family, please accept my most heartfelt thanks, and also always to Mayor Mike Coleman for his chance to give me one more shot at the microphone. And I thank all of you who took time out of your busy schedules to be here today. This is a great statement by the City of Columbus, and the honor goes to the Mayor, Mike Coleman. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Buck. Thank you. So there's just a couple more things I want to point out. It's the Rinehart family, Brenda. They were collaborators here, Buck. You may not know that, but they collaborated along with members of your staff from back in the day. And they were also collaborators, and we're grateful for them. And I want to acknowledge some other folks. You know, Pam O'Grady was very helpful here. Of course, we have to acknowledge some of the elected officials that are here. Senator Jim Hughes, Representative Cheryl Grossman, the City County Engineer Dean Ringel, City County, and just, you know, all right. Representative Mike Curtin, who's here, Commissioner Ed Leonard, Commissioner John O'Grady, former Commissioner Dewey Stokes, I saw him over there. Dorothy Teeter is here. Dorothy, welcome. Mayor Ike Stage, I saw him over there. And the great Hugh Dorian. Mr. Dorian, you got to stand. Yeah. And State Auditor David Yost. Thank you. Please stand, David. David, if you could stand. Stand. There you go. I appreciate it very much. So, again, Buck, congratulations. We're so grateful for you, your leadership, your words. And, again, this is a heartfelt thanks for the generations that you have helped since your time. So thank you so much, and God bless all of you. And we're going to put this at the appropriate spot out front for this $200 million complex. And again, I have to say it again. When you pay your water sewer bill, think of Buck Rinehart. All right. Thank you.